brought to you by Thomas Allgaier and Frennis. This edition highlights key LinkedIn posts on next-gen vehicle intelligence in weeks 43 and 44. Frennis supports automotive enterprises and consultancies with market and competitive intelligence, decoding disruptive technologies, customer needs, regulatory change, and competitive moves so product teams and strategy leaders don't just react but shape the future of mobility. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Our mission here is to synthesize the most relevant next-gen vehicle intelligence trends we saw popping up across LinkedIn during calendar weeks 43 and 44. And the big picture, what's the story? Well, it seems pretty clear. The industry is definitely past the talking phase. The core theme really is this big acceleration of the software-defined vehicle, moving from, the concept stage to actual real-world execution, messy execution sometimes.
That's it, exactly. It's not about roadmaps anymore. We're hearing about the real friction, the deployment challenges happening right now. So we've sort of distilled the insights into four main areas for you. First, the strategic demands around hardening SDV architectures, then the huge shifts needed in validation, the move towards platform-based cybersecurity, and finally, how AI is rapidly changing user experience and autonomy.
Okay, so let's kick off where any big transformation has to. Strategy and the underlying architecture. It feels like we're swapping PowerPoint slides for, practical decomposition and thinking in stacks now. And when we talk SDV, it's not just tech upgrades anymore, is it? It's a whole business model pivot.
Oh, absolutely. It's become an existential thing, not just a nice to have. Huan Han put it quite starkly, saying, for the European auto industry, it's not just a transition, it's a full transformation. Moving from selling a car to selling a digital service, the SDV is really about reinventing the business around that lifecycle software revenue. Srinivasa Prasad, MN, also touched on this, stressing how vital holistic integration is across, I think it was 6 core tech layers, especially the complex bits like the dynamic software stack and edge and connectivity.
And it's fascinating how quickly this is moving beyond just the high-end models. It's not solely a premium play now. Brajesh Suresh highlighted the Hyundai Venue launch in India. They're actually calling it a debut SDV for that market. It gets OTA updates for, up to 20 controllers, and it runs an NVIDIA-connected car navigation cockpit.
Yeah, that shows it's democratizing, maybe faster than we thought.
It really does.
But that speed immediately brings up tricky internal issues, right? Control, ownership. This is where the business transformation really starts to bite. Mayday Owl's Bezra made a sharp point about data ownership complexity. A lot of the critical IP inside the vehicle, it actually belongs to suppliers right now. So she argues that the vertically integrated OEMs, they have a clear edge deploying those valuable edge AI applications because they control that whole data pipeline, sensor to cloud.
Hold on, that's a huge point. If suppliers own the crucial IP, like Mayday suggests, isn't that a massive ticking clock for traditional OEMs? I mean, how do you become a software company if the very foundation of your future moneymaker, the data, is controlled by someone else?
Precisely. It raises a fundamental question. Can the OEMs who aren't vertically integrated even get to those later, more profitable SDV stages without, some kind of unprecedented collaboration? Or new data sharing standards that just don't exist yet? They're essentially fighting over the raw materials for the digital age.
And the clock is ticking because of the competition. Felix Wortman really emphasized the internal upheaval needed. He said incumbent R&D models, built for these long multi-year cycles, they have to be totally redesigned. Why? Because the digital natives, especially out of China, they're already setting the pace. Weekly OTA releases, you just can't match that with a 1990s R&D workflow.
No way. And that need for speed for continuous updates, it leads us straight to the physical nuts and bolts. Yeah. You can't push weekly OTAs without a solid, modern EE architecture, the right middleware, and of course, powerful silicon. Zonal architectures, service-oriented designs, these keep coming up as the essential backbone for rolling out software safely and quickly.
And that move, away from domain controllers towards zonal central compute, it's paying off in physical ways too, not just software flexibility. Milan Velika shared a great stat about BMW Group. Moving to this new structure for the new class, they cut harness weight by about 30%.
30%.
Yeah, that's like 600 meters of cable gone per car. Huge savings in cost, complexity, weight, directly from the architecture change.
It turns the vehicle into more of a standardized platform. Which is why Prasantha Garvahala argued the real fight now isn't just OEM versus OEM, it's between the semiconductor ecosystems. NVIDIA, Qualcomm, ARM, even RISC-V is gaining ground. Controlling that foundational compute stack, that dictates the future. Silicon is the new strategic high ground. It's about setting the rules for the whole digital car.
And this fundamentally changes how we have to think about the network itself, connecting silicon to safety. Chauncey argues the real magic isn't just the AI, it's the automotive Ethernet fabric underneath. It's quality, it's reliability. He pointed out, in modern brake-by-wire systems, just 10 milliseconds of network jitter. That can mean failure. The communication path is the safety system now.
Right.
And he observed traditional OEMs often still organize networks by domain, kind of siloed, while the leaders, they're architecting the whole vehicle like one unified compute platform, a deterministic, safety-critical data center on wheels.
And that need for determinism is pushing standardization efforts. Makes sense, right? To manage the complexity and risk. Robert Day highlighted blueprint efforts like the SOAFI and AutoWare Foundation collaboration. They're key because they help everyone build on shared, sort of pre-validated blocks, minimizes integration pain.
Good point.
And we shouldn't forget the established standards either. Ahmed Munir detailed how the AUTOSAR Ethernet stack is still vital for that high-speed data exchange you need for modern ADOS and efficient service-oriented communication. It's still very relevant.
Okay, so if the dream is weekly OTAs, like we heard, that puts insane pressure on QA, on validation. How do you compress years of testing into days? How are companies actually trying to do this shift left thing for real? Robert Fay defined it well. He said testing isn't slow because testers are slow.
Right.
It's slow because feedback comes too late, integration logic breaks, the system's often busted before testing even begins.
And the only way around that lateness seems to be massive virtualization. Antje Rohrbeck talked about how virtual ECUs, VECUs, they're totally changing the validation game. They let you do system-level testing using multi-VECU co-simulation. So engineers can actually build confidence in the whole integrated system way before they have the physical hardware.
Okay.
Jeremy DeHaan even showed Synopsys demonstrating a whole virtual car running, simulating complex compute environments.
Yeah.
So the tech is there.
But then there's the process problem, the culture clash. Krinthi and Rajan highlighted this friction between dynamic software and, static processes.
Yeah, that's a big one.
He talked about the clash between something like the ASPICE models, which is 1990s, right? It assumes development stops at SOP, start of production, and the SDV reality, where the system really starts living after SOP with OTA updates every Tuesday. How do you make those two worlds meet?
You really can't, not easily anyway. That continuous evolution means security has to fundamentally change too. It can't be a pre-launch checklist anymore. It has to be a dynamic, real-time thing. Continuous vulnerability management, that's a runtime job now, not just something you do before SOP and tick a box.
Makes sense.
And this need is driving the rise of platformized security solutions. Stuff designed to meet R155 and ISO 21434 rules at scale, continuously. Bob Monkman mentioned the Red Hat and Vicone partnership as an example. The security has to keep pace with the software updates.
All right, let's shift to the front end, the stuff customers see and touch, the AI-driven innovations. This is where it gets real for the user experience. Augustin Friedel had a pretty strong take here. He urged OEMs to go beyond just sprinkling AI features around. The goal should be to become actual AI companies.
Yeah, he was quite
citing Tesla and XPeng as examples, companies where AI isn't an add-on, it's like the core DNA of the product.
And you see that playing out in the cockpit already. Magnus Ösberg presented the new MBUX virtual assistant avatars from Mercedes-Benz. They've got the star logo, a human-like one, and even something called Little Benz.
Little Benz.
Yeah. And it's all powered by generative AI running on their MBOS. So it's not just voice commands. It shows a real strategic push towards building a personalized, almost human-like interaction model.
Interesting. Now, moving towards autonomy, Justin Sweetlove noted ADDI is obviously the foundation. L2 adoption is set to grow quite a bit, moving into more mainstream cars.
Right, the building blocks.
But he stressed the biggest hurdle isn't really the tech itself anymore, it's trust and user education. He pointed out that something like 40% of UK drivers, they don't fully grasp their ADDI systems when they buy the car. If people don't get it, they won't use it right or trust it, which kind of defeats the point.
And that trust gap gets way bigger when you talk level 3 autonomy.
Yeah.
Partha Goswami really highlighted the inherent contradiction in L3, didn't he?
Yeah, the paradox.
The driver is legally allowed to be eyes off, but they also have to be ready to take back control instantly if the system asks.
Tricky.
He raised serious questions about whether human reflexes are always good enough for that safe handoff. Plus, there's still significant legal fog around L3, especially in the US. It feels like L3 is stuck in this awkward middle ground.
But while passenger car L3 is complicated, the commercial side is showing some hard numbers. Tense Kip shared compelling data on autonomous trucking.
Oh yeah, the trucking case is strong.
Aurora's platform showing 14% fuel savings just from consistent optimized driving. And Goldman Sachs projects that market hitting, what, $18 billion by 2030?
$18 billion. Wow.
Driven by operating costs potentially plummeting from over $6 a mile down to maybe under $2 per mile for driverless trucks.
Yeah.
That kind of cost difference makes the business case pretty hard to ignore.
Absolutely undeniable. Hashtag tag outro.
So wrapping up these 2 weeks, the main takeaway feels like the SDV conversation is fully grown up now. It's real. The merging of SDV architecture and AI is speeding up like crazy, and it's forcing established players to adopt totally new R&D methods, chase platform stability, and really rethink their products from the ground up. The question isn't if software runs the car anymore, is how fast can you update and validate that software safely and reliably?
And this big shift away from traditional manufacturing towards platform control, it raises some deep existential questions for everybody in the auto world. Think about the points we discussed. Suppliers potentially owning critical in-vehicle IP, like maybe Al's Becerra noted, and then major chip companies like NVIDIA, not just supplying parts, but building their own robotaxis, as Philip Rash pointed out.
Right.
So here's something to chew on. What's the bigger long-term threat for traditional OEMs? Is it losing control over the vehicle's data? Or is it losing control over the core compute and semiconductor strategy that defines what the vehicle can even do in the future? That's the tightrope they're walking right now.
If you enjoyed this deep dive, new editions drop every 2 weeks. Also check out our other deep dives on electrification and battery technology, future mobility and market evolution, and commercial fleet insights. Thanks for joining us, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next analysis.